Okay folks, this is going to be a little different of a video because I have been playing Fallout 4 and I just want to say two things. One, this game is fucking awesome. If my computer didn't suck so hard, I'd be enjoying it much more. The second is the main protagonist is a wasted pile of potential character gold shuffled off into a blank slate category for no good reason. Now, I could knock off for lunch after saying that because there isn't any way anyone could objectively argue with me. If you do, you are totally missing what I am saying. But since I have to convince you because that is the law of the internet, here we go. Now, this can be switched between two characters as to appeal to male and female characters, and male and female gamers. If I were playing Nora, I can greatly understand her fish out of water premise, as is the game. When you really start it, you really don't know what the hell's going on. You are at a blank slate. She was a lawyer, she was young, and a recent mother. However, if I know anything about women, it's one thing. Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. When Mama Bear is mad, and her little baby boy had just been kidnapped, oh boy, the path of gore she laid out, I'd feel sorry for any poor shit stain in her way. Props to anyone who actually played her like that, by the way. She is a lawyer, as I said, and meaning she is very well read, adept into details, and has an analytical mind to solve problems and spot precedents. Now, if we were playing Nate, who is he? Oh, I don't know, a fucking war hero. He was a member of the 108th Infantry Regiment and a decorated war hero. Let's be conservative and say he only signed up for a typical term in the US Army, an 8-year stint. If we minus the actual years backwards from when the bombs dropped on October 3rd, 2077, I believe, and we rolled it back 8 years, the fact that Alaska at that time, if you go back at least 8 years, was invaded by the Chinese, he was probably in there during that time. The fact Alaska was invaded, he was probably kept on until the Chinese were at least kicked out of US soil before he left. That means for at least 8 years he was embroiled in full warfare, and a few more years on top of that because technically it was still going on up until the bombs dropped. Now, some of you might say, so what? A lot of people were in at that time. There's plenty of soldiers around the Commonwealth. Well, if you played the Anchorage DLC for Fallout 3, you'd know this fight wasn't nothing to sneeze at, and that was one mission. This meaning if Nate's a decorated war hero, he's probably got more combat experience than anyone else out there and up on any dumbass with a pipe rifle in the Commonwealth. Don't believe me? Average enlisted soldiers who join up in the military after 8 years commonly end up with an E5 or E6 category, which is either a sergeant or staff sergeant. Now, add on top of that, he's probably got a few medals and fought in a war on possibly 2 continents. He probably topped out at a staff sergeant easily. Staff sergeants are commonly in command of up to 40 soldiers in the field and directly coordinate with the platoon leader, who is often a lieutenant or captain. This means he only took orders from an officer. So when Knight Reeves says something stupid like, "You're not military," and a few other characters think he's only as good for a common grunt, a real staff sergeant would have reached down Reese's neck and pulled out his soul and showed it to him. Nate isn't Jake Gyllenhaal at the end of Jarhead. He is this world's Chris Kyle from American Sniper, for Christ's sake. The whole idea about RPGs is you're supposed to make your character the way you want to, but again, neither of these characters are uneducated or untrained or without like a real history. With what Bethesda did with both these parents completely changed that. Nate was a war hero with years and years of combat training and warfare experience. Nora is a lawyer. You don't get there by being an idiot or years and years of education. They should have started off with base points that would have reflected that. Nate would have had extensive weapons training. He'd have experience to use pistols, rifles, laser rifles, plasma weapons, even power armor. The guy knows how to climb into a power armor suit and use it without a problem, something in every other game you needed to be shown first. Nora would have had a huge intelligence boost, charisma, and bartering. She would have great attention to detail abilities, allowing her to see other things other people would miss. There should have been unique starting perks for either one that would make each of them distinct from each other in different playstyles. You could play the game twice and get 2 different experiences that way. It should be said about 2 People Out of Time, the developers missed a defining mechanic I would have gladly had, and either would have made this game fucking amazing. Let's start with Nate. While I do like the Minutemen, I would have taken it one step further than that. Nate's a decorated war hero and veteran. Chances are with his rank, he probably was on a few basic training courses as an instructor at some point. So what would any sergeant do when he sees no soldiers around? Well, set up a boot camp, that's what, maggots. I would have made it so Nate went out to rebuild the actual US Army, complete with going out and setting up equipment to bring back uniforms, base facilities, weapons, and armor, and then sending them out to raise their own forces when they reach enough experience. Personally, I probably would have taken over the National Guard place that's over here on the other side of the map because, well, it was the recruitment center and it looks enough like a base to me. If you really want to invest in your settlements and the people of the country, raising a disciplined fighting force built on the tenets of the US Army would have really instilled that sense, bringing back civilization, which is lacking in all these games. Think about it. Seeing the US flag rise over Sunset Hills, then Concord, then Diamond City, and then the whole map where you get to see your own military force walking around and patrolling and bringing people a peaceful life. The ultimate rallying cry under a flag all would see as a beacon of hope, the game's very theme of not giving up. It was touched on in Fallout New Vegas with the Lonesome Road, but I would have had Nate's own personal mission to rebuild a forest that stood out on the principles of what he knew the truth was. There was probably a mod out there right now for it that could do it, but if they did it in the base game, that would be awesome. Now, does that mean Nora's got nothing? Hell fucking no. This lady would be the one who brought the law back to the wasteland, sending up lawmen and women all over the place, teaching people what the law was and how to ensure justice was done. Maybe go out to police stations, use them as bases or safe zones, and outfitting officers with weapons and looks. Maybe have an old school police uniform everyone knows what they stand for, or have tactical officers in power armor to lead squads to respond to dangerous super mutants or raiders for you. Maybe call for backup. Set up the style of the law and how strict they are to be good stand-up officers or brutal ones who hang 'em high from every tree. She could go all female Judge Dredd on everyone or set up real courts for passing judgments to make it feel like you actually are making the world a better place. Madam Law from Vault 111? Nice ring to it, eh? Too little dialogue. Now, I know this is the first time they've had a fully voiced protagonist, but this character is no Commander Shepard. Really sad they didn't make anything after Mass Effect 3. No, it is dead to me, that doesn't exist, and I will deny it till the day I fucking die. Sorry about that. Back to the point. There should be a hell of a lot more questions and talking characters outside these three pointed options. The whole rest of the game, I was really interested in finding out all about these interesting characters all over the place. Again, a game that shall not be fucking named. Would like to take notes about this particular game because every single character is unique, from Nick, Piper, Dance, and every other single one I remember because they all stand out as a unique person. They have all had full lives and plenty of stories to tell. How come we didn't get that for the actual characters we're playing? Because they had full lives and full experiences before this whole thing started. As Nate, I'd loved him to tell Elder Maxim what a real war was like, and all these little skirmishes that he's into are just nothing compared. Or tell Dance how much of a death trap his armor really is. I want to know more about Nate because he's probably have more war stories up the ass, and Nora would probably want to know more about the world to raise her son in. As strange as it sounds, I want to know more about my character. Hell, even Commander Shepard, who was supposed to be one of 4 of each kind of classes, or male or female, who could have been molded into anything, had a full backstory, family, war record, and likes and dislikes to him, right? Bethesda, if you're going to do this again, give us a real character, or just make them silent like Doomguy or Freeman. You can't go halfway as I see it. Now, a lot of things were lost to translation in this game. I remember how in Fallout 3 when you went to a museum and they completely messed up how the Declaration of Independence was signed, or how things happened in the wars, or all the simply lost to history moments that you've seen. In the game, there are certain things that would make Nate or Nora go, no, that's not what it meant. For instance, in Diamond City, the baseball fanatic here thinks it was a battlefield and baseball players were warriors. Just love to see little bits of snark from the main character, just dashing the false ideas of who these characters were and giving them a bit more context of the present world and what they live in. The main character should have been this beacon of wisdom to all around him or her, driven by the simple intention of making things right in a world that is so close to falling apart at any given minute. In conclusion, I really want to get across that I still love this game, the mods that pop up and all the fun stuff I come across it. The unique worlds, the destinations, the places in the world I can get lost in for hours. If it wasn't for the fact my computer craps out so much I need to get another one fast to fully enjoy it. The main protagonist, regardless of male or female, needed to have their own personal moments where the other companions are asking them how they feel, not just be a soundboard. I wanted to feel Nate's ingrained patriotism and leadership, maybe even have him be sad at a certain point where he remembers what the war is like, or have a PTSD flashback. That would be, might be controversial, but at least it would be something that reflects that he has been truly affected by this war. I wanted to feel Nate's engraved patriotism and leadership. I wanted to see Nora weeping over the body of her husband or vice versa. I wanted to have a cut scene where one of them goes back, takes the body out of the cryotube, and gives him or her a burial when they go back in. I wanted a few moments of the main character alone in their own thoughts like we'd be having. Are we doing the right thing? What have we done? Who am I to be now in this new world? And if I'm going to make it better for everyone or just me and my own? I know we didn't get it, but we should get it one of these days. Anyways, tell me what you think in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe and stay tuned for all the other content out there. This is Jack, signing off.